Hey guys, I'll be doing a deck profile for my Alfred-Blaster Royal Paladin Premium deck, post V-bt05. So, hope you guys enjoy. So for my starting Vanguard, I run Barkgull, the V starter from set 5, because it gives a draw right away and I get to keep it in soul for various soul blast costs. Now moving into the grade trees, I of course run 4 Alfred early, because this is an Alfred deck and most of my key cards run with it. So yes, it's very good since it gives 10k power right away to Blaster Blade, either from hand or from soul. And I get to counter blast 1 to draw a card. And next up we run 3 Monarch Sanctuary Alfred, the VR from V-bt03. And I run this because of the power boost it gives as well to the Blaster Blade, 10k on my turn and opponent's turn as well. Other than that, it gives a additional shield value as well. This is very good defensively, so it makes the Blaster Blades 10k have 10k shield. And lastly, it has a very good on place. It can get 15k power, and I can recycle Blaster Blade from drop to my hand to be able to call it again. And it can also get a critical if it it's very good if I'm able to ride it to another Alfred on my grade 3 ride. On my grade 3 turn. And lastly, I run 1 new style Blaster Loon. This is my last grade 3. So I run a total of 8 grade 3s. And I only have 7 preferred rides, but that's good enough for the deck, because what he does is also he becomes a 16k attacker if I'm able to put a Blaster Blade back to the deck. So resource wise, yes, we can use this to get our Blaster Blades back to superior call them again. And the other good thing about him is the 5k shield on Guardian Circle and the intercept ability. And next for my grade 2s, I of course run 4 Blaster Blades. The main star of the deck, it gets a crit. If you have 4 other allies, as soon as you ride it, and you can retire front or rear guard. But other than that, it's the main attacker for the deck, as you can restand with one of the critical triggers I run. And next up, we run 2 Blaster Dark. So as some of you may know, you can run this because of the old card from back in the base series. Back in the days, that's the Majesty Lord Blaster. So that's the reason why this can be put in the deck. So this is also very good since it's a 10k. It's a preferred ride. It can get a twin drive by discarding one card, and it can retire an opponent's rear guard. So yes, having 6 rideable grade 2s in this deck that are 10k is very good in the early game. And next up, we run 3 Undulatory Sage Tarna, because this is one of the only other competitive card in this deck for premium, as it can create more force markers as you ride your Alfred. So it is also one of the reasons why 3 Monarch Sanctuary Alfred is good enough, since you can just call it out by one of this Tarna and get your force marker set up for your next turn, next ride turn. That's why for me it's very good. And yes, even if you get 2 of this, it can be used twice to get 3 force markers right away. Not much to explain there. And for the last, I run the 2 Favored Pupil of Light and Dark Blue. So he's a card from GBT06. Skill is if he was boosted by Blaster Friend Barkgull or Floral Paladin Flogel, he gets power plus 3000 and he goes to soul at the end of that battle to call another grade 2 card with Blaster in its card. So you can search out Blaster Blades specific. Uh, yeah, that's the usual target, and so it can multi-attack. And I cut him down to 2 because we don't run the Blaster Friend Bark build, since it only works with blasters. So yes, if I could pair this with Flogel, then yes, it's a multi-attack enabler. And speaking of Flogels, we run that one Swordsman of Light, Blaster Javelin Larus, because it's an on-place, can be fetched out by one of my strides. It can search 2 high beasts, which is the critical trigger that I will go through later. So yeah, that's his only main function. That's why I only run him at 1. It's just a Flogel fetcher for that restanding place will do, like in the late game. So that sums up the grade 2, running 12 of them. Now for the grade 1s, of course, it's the Stride deck. We run our 3 Stride Fathers. I think 3 is good enough for me, since most of the time we can draw it anyway. And we also have our other key pieces in the grade 1s. This is none other than the 3 Pluck Enchanter. So apparently this is the card that actually make this deck post V-bt05, since this is the only card from that set that we run here. And yes, he's also one of the key players of this deck, because it gives us back our resources every time our Blaster Blade, you place a Blaster Blade from your hand, or yeah, even from deck. So you get that free counter charge if you have used up all your counter blast costs, and gives soul right away, which this deck really needs. And that's also the reason why we run the V starter, so that we can draw it as soon as we ride our grade 2, and we can proc its skill, and yes, every turn it will just proc right away every time you have a Blaster Blade. So it's a really good card, and it's what makes this deck worth playing. So, and now going to the other key card of this deck, which is Knight of Exemplary Sword Lucius, because its skill grants you, like a Transit Dragon from Gear Chronicle, it goes to soul and you draw, but this time you get to call a card from your hand. It's either on your grade 3 ride or your stride, so both ride phase and stride phase. So yes, this deck really wants that free soul and free draw, but for the most part it enables you to call Tarna once you ride your grade 3, and you can activate its skill to reclaim that additional force marker. Because if this is called during ride phase, then yes, it can activate, then you can stride. So it's one little combo trick you have there. And lastly, for the grade 1s, we run this 2 Sage of Transition Lyron. So his skill is basically like a Calamity Tower Wyvern clone from back in the day, or Team Scara GG, because the skill is power 5k, Soul Blast 2 when you draw an additional card. So like, it's a free draw, because by the time you're at grade 2 you'll have 2 soul already, since the Bark Girl stays in soul. So that's one of the good things, the good early game plays you can have with this. And since Blaster Blade and Vanguard Circle requires you to have 4 rear guards, being able to call this and drawing another card gets you closer to that 4 rear guards requirement. And also, if ever you're gonna use Blaster Dark skill, you discard 1, so whatever he draws, you can mitigate the discard cost for Blaster Dark. So it's really good in the setting up the early game plays. And lastly, we run 2 of Liam. That means two of our other sentinels are the draw PG. Yes, because this is a very good card from set V-bt01, because it's power plus 10. It gives more space to your main deck, and the draw is very handy as well. So 2 draw sentinels and 2 Lian sentinels, because yes, one of our key cards that can use a Soul Blast to basically protect, and if one of your Alfred-Blaster units. And now going on for the rest of the triggers, we run of course 4 V series critical Amulet Eagle from the premium collection, because it's the same for every clan. The skill is going to Soul, Generation Break 1. You can draw a card when your Vanguard attacks, and it's a free plus 10. So, of course, you can always run this in a premium deck. And, of course, the Royal Paladin Flogel is the only other card that makes this deck very competitive, because you can restand the Blaster Blade even after putting all the trigger effects there, and the Larus is able to fetch it, and you can trigger Lu as well to get the multi-attack. So that's why you run it at 4. So we run a total of 10 critical triggers. You can run 2 more of this Flogel. So more criticals in this deck adds in more pressure. That's why, yes, 10 crit 2 draw is the best lineup that I have. And lastly, the 4 V trigger heals, because the 10k power is really it's a key strategy for this deck to get those power defensively and offensively to Blaster Blades, or specifically him. And now for our Stride Zone. We run, of course, 2 Holy Divine Knight, cancel out Peace Saver, because it was one of the best first strides Royal Paladin ever got. It gives drive plus 1, counter charge if you have an Alfred-Blaster heart. So that gives us this stride and the Lian that requires this deck to just run Alfred or Blaster. Well, in this case, Alfred, to get that force marker, of course. Yes, good card. Drive checks 4 times, counter charge, resource management, it's really good as well. And not to mention the second skill, the resist skill, which obviously come in handy. You just need to have him face up in the G zone. And of course, the next will be the 2 twin swords from the new stripe from the premium collection. This is our main support card for the deck, as it calls 2 grade 2s, as long as it's boosted. So the only condition is you have an open counter blast, and you call your Blaster Blades, your Luz, and all that, so that you can have enable your multi attacks and enable the Blaster Blade to be able to restand with Flogel, or can pull off the Pluck Enchanter so that you can get this free soul charge and even a counter charge. So yes, the second skill makes this card really good if you have a lot of face-up cards in the G zone. And for next, we run this 2 card from 2 of this from the Legend deck, King of Knights, Divine Knight King, Alfred Holy Saver. We still want to have him in the deck because it enables a Blaster Blade to get a twin drive. So it's 2 additional drive checks from his triple drive. The +3 is really good as well, because of course the restand really matters from Flogel. That's why That's why sometimes I'd consider this. You want to drive check your crits or heals. And yes, and it's GB2, so most of the time I'll try this when I get a G-Guard first. And next up, we run 2 Aerial Divine Knight. Altmile, it's the same skill. Might consider this card if I am GB2, since this requires a face-up card in G-Zone to get that free call. But we obviously never tried this first, because it's almost... It doesn't... The first skill doesn't do much. It's just a plus 3000 for front row. It's only the second skill that matters. So I still want to have it in the deck. And lastly, we run 2 Transmigratory Knight Holy Squire Dragon. That's a triple R stride from back in G's CMB01 comic booster. Yes, it enables your field to be unlocked, so it's good against. So it's a counter for the Link Joker matchups, and usually we just use, if not Link Joker, we just use this as a flip fodder for the Twin Sword, since he still needs to have someone else to be flipped. And lastly, we also run this card. Triple R from V-bt05 Samuel. So it's just there for like emergency or niche situations, or if you just wanna deal that free damage, then cool, you can do that. If you have the counterblast 2, full field, free damage, and we do have access to force too, so it really gives that pressure to your opponent. And lastly, for the G guards, we run 2 of this Maron. The last card that requires this deck to have an Alfred-Blaster heart, Grade 3. Yes, so first is Gancelot, then Lian, then Maron. This enables you to have a free Guardian from the deck, and it gives 5k power shield as well. So if you call, let's say, one of these from deck, either him, either Lucius, or where is it? Or Pluck Enchanter. This gives a total of 30,000 shield, because this becomes 15 and 15. So that's why the soul is very important for this deck. So 2 of our Marons and 2 of our Lians need that cost to be able to pull off the skill. And lastly, we run 2 of our situational G guards. This comes 20k right away, if we, as long as we have a grade 2 in field, and this can go up to, this U-Salt can increase his shield by 5k for every other rear guard in the field with just 1 counterblast. So this might come in handy. Of course, you run 1 of it. And the last card to sum up the deck profile is Dark Element Dismal. Just gives protection to any one of your rear guards. That's why it's a good situational G guard. And it's a great elemental, so any clan can use it. So that's it. That's it for the Alfred-Blaster deck profile. Of course, we have our force markers, the usual ones. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.